Live from Eorzea.
Limit Break with your hosts, Unhero.
Google me, bitch!
Kahlo.
I want to be fucking Flame Lord Kahlo Landis.
Juxtaposition.
That's fine. I have a small penis. I'm reading forums.
Ascalia.
I bought something from Giant Wanker the other night.
LimitBreakRadio.com.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Limit Break Radio. I, of course, am one of your hosts, Unhero. Joining me today, I've got Juxtaposition, as well as Nika Kyanian. How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Good.
Really, it's a radio.
A radio, really, it's the radio?
No, a radio.
Oh, okay. A radio?
No, that's just redundant. A radio redundant. We use that heavily.
Yeah, we have.
Okay, it works. A radio redundant.
Thanks for tuning in today, and thanks for tuning in for our Part 1 special, our interview with Susan Calloway. If you haven't heard it by now, it'll be posted up on our website, www.limitbreakradio.com. If you're listening to this on the podcast, if you're live, the interview will go up with the podcast on Tuesday. So I want to thank you guys for listening. And once again, a big thank you to Susan Calloway for agreeing to hang out with us and answer our questions. Now, again, we want you to tell the Square Enix North American community team how much you want to see Susan Calloway perform out at the 2014 Final Fantasy XIV Fan Festival, and you can do that by hitting Twitter and tweeting at Matalos and at Popsicle with the hashtag #BringSusan. And tell them how much you want to see Susan Calloway perform out at 2014 Fan Fest, and hopefully they'll make it happen. And if Susan Calloway performs out at the 2014 Fan Festival, you guys know who to thank.
It will be us.
It will be us.
Which would be, and to be honest, a good way to thank us would be to make Juxtaposition a background character in the next Hildebrand quest series. Just saying.
Oh, wish fulfillment. So thanks for tuning in today. We on part 1 we talked a little bit about patch 2.35 and what we can expect with that, as well as some other patches down the road with Yoshi P talking about what was in the live letter 16 and lots of cool stuff. On the last episode, we spent the second part of the episode having a conversation about hunts. And
when do we ever talk about hunts on this show?
It does seem to be the thing that everyone is doing and talking about. So it seems only fitting that we should talk about them too. But we had a big conversation about hunts on the last episode. Nika, you were not present for that.
No, sadly.
Fortunately, we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about hunts today, and
you said unfortunately?
No, fortunately.
Oh, okay.
But there now we had taken the discussion, and some might say that we made the mistake of posting it to Reddit, which I don't think it was a mistake. There was a lot of comments that came out of it. Some of them were helpful, some of them were not so much. But I want to spend a couple of minutes talking about it, and the first thing that I want to do is I want to correct some of the misinformation that we gave out on that episode. The first thing that everyone jumped right onto was the second coil of Bahamut loot table, and
Studio.
What
Picture?
Oh, right, yeah, I forgot about that. The the first thing that we should correct is the the loot table. So we were talking about sand and oil distribution and how easily they are available out of hunts, and they're not so easily available out of coil. Now, what are the turns that drop, Nika, since you are our endgame expert, what are the turns that drop sands and oil?
Okay, so every oil and sands is 100% drop, no matter what. T6 doesn't drop either of them, just gear.
Right.
Turn 7 drops the oil and the tombstone for buying the weapon with soldiery. Turn 8 drops sands, and turn 9 drops an oil and a sands.
Okay.
100%.
So they are 100%. So yes. there's a couple of things in there. So one, you've got to be able to clear it. Okay. Two, there is a week lockout on each turn that you can do. So all of that loot, and this speaks to our greater point, which I think we were making in the episode, that loot is locked out by a week. If you've got 8 people going through binding coil, you're only going to get
2 per week, and that's if you have it on farm right now.
Yeah,
distributed between your group.
Most people don't farm, so pretty much we just cleared T9 for the first time, and so up until that point, we were running 6 to 8 every week. That's 1 oil and 1 sands, and so we pretty much just kind of make a list of who's gotten an oil or a sands from our group. Whoever hasn't gotten it, lots on it. Once you get it, you don't get the lot until everyone's gotten one, and it rotates. Now that we've beaten turn 9, hopefully more people will start to get stuff. But
well, and with hunts, I can't imagine that there's as much competition for that. So we had made that point, but to speak to the greater point, the amount that you can get out of hunts versus the amount that you can even get out of binding coil seemed to be unbalanced, at least in my mind. There was the artificial cap on how many sands and oils that you can get out of binding coil because of the lockout and because of the barrier for entry and the completion challenge. So you've got those 3 things working against you to be able to get gear out of that system. So I think the intent was to put far more sands and oils into rotation and to get people caught up to post 99I levels, but I at the time and even still, I think it might be too much. Like, I think
it's,
you know what I mean? Like, it seemed like a strange distribution, especially for Square Enix.
It does, but you gotta remember that this is also supposed to be the catch-up patch, too.
Right. And almost none of these pieces of gear are best in slot.
some of them.
I mean, some of them are, but you're still going for heavy Allegan in most cases.
There's tons of Bard best in slot with Auroral gear / sarcasm.
And it definitely depends on which. A lot of best in slot gear is really dependent on whether or not you're using the soldiery weapon or the high Allegan weapon or whatever, or the Novus. So that also will make a difference on what you decide to use in the end between the soldiery pieces, unweathered, and the high Allegan pieces. So my Black Mage right now, I'm really have a lot of the Even Star now based on my weapon. So it also, it gives a chance for people who can't clear all the coils to get the stuff, and you're right, like catch up to people finally. Because there are a lot of people who are just starting turn 6, I'm seeing. So none of these people have any of that gear, and they're going to fall quickly behind if they can't catch up.
Well, so I think a lot of that can be attributed to people pushing their eye level with unweathered gear. That's a big part of that. Because there is that kind of like gear check that second coil has. So if you're too low, you're gonna.
Yeah, there's a lot of DPS checks in each individual fight, too, where if you can't get past a certain point, things are going to spawn and kill you, and it's over. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the first thing that people jumped all over us about. And, okay, so the second thing, this was in regards to the FFXIV app/radar plugin. Apparently, there is some kind of filtering on it now. At the time of recording that episode, there wasn't. And it's not something that I continue to investigate beyond just the the little bit of research that I did for the show. But again, the greater point still stands that accusing people of botting and hacking when you see either some behavior that you can't explain or understand, or they got to the mob first or whatever, it's not indicative of exploiting. And those accusations are ridiculous. And fortunately, that shit has died down. That shit died down really quickly. And now what we're seeing is a lot of cooperation among link shells and free companies, and a great player network that's forming out of this. And then the third thing that I wanted to correct, and this was just a mistake that I made. Multiple Bs cannot be up in the same zone. You can have an A and a B up in the same zone. You can have probably all three of them, I'm imagining,
probably
up in the same zone.
But
it's not
monster in their own spawn window.
It's not terribly likely. There are a lot of theories about how the spawn, how exactly spawning works. Some people seem to be under the impression that the less people that are in the zone actively hunting for the mob has an effect on how quickly it pops or doesn't. Because a lot of times
I don't know.
You'll have one A rank up. Like I was looking for Fornius for goddamn 20 minutes. Another A window will pop, and it'll pop right at the beginning of the window. Everyone will zone out, and then suddenly Fornius is back up. I'm not saying that it's true, but it's what some people are going with.
www.wikipedia.com/confirmation bias.
So that was the third small piece of misinformation that we wanted to correct from that episode. But there is a greater point that I wanted to speak to about that Reddit thread. And that is, a lot of people seem to be really surprised at my behavior and my responses in that Reddit thread. And I'm just here to tell you that I don't give a shit. I don't care if you think that I need to be polite or customer servicey when responding to critical feedback. But if I think that you're giving me a blow-off response, or if I think you're being a dick or a blowhard or a troll, I'm going to call you out on that shit. I'm not just going to say, oh, thank you for your feedback, we'll do better to do next time. No, fuck you. We make the show for us. Other people happen to enjoy the show, but we make the show for us. What do we get out of this? Enjoyment. Pleasure, joy. We just like doing this. We like sitting around and bullshitting about Final Fantasy XIV. And
to be fair, it sounds like a lot of those people hadn't ever listened to an episode until
no, and that's fine. And I, you don't have to. I don't think you have to be a fan to enjoy LBR. I would hope that the show would welcome in new listeners if someone came to it blind. That they would find the show inviting and entertaining. But I mean, as hosts, we're under no obligation to treat you well. We don't have a customer service department. You're not paying us.
We're not assholes, though. Please feel free to say hi if you see us. Don't think that we're assholes.
Speak for yourself. I can be a fucking asshole.
I mean, look at him in the screen. I mean, he's wearing such gaudy, terrible armor. It's terrible.
I can definitely be an asshole, and I'm not. I don't really
There's a
care.
difference between you can be an asshole to I hate all my fans, you all suck, which is not what we're what you were trying to say. But I think that's what a lot of people thought you were trying to say.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I took now. I would like to point out that I took the time to respond to every single post in that thread. Every single one, even if it was a shitty troll post. And I seem to get jumped all over for sarcastic responses to other sarcastic responses. So, I mean, I don't know. I definitely, the people who listen to the show and the people who interact with me know that I love our fans. I love our listeners. And I'm always willing to give people the time of day. I don't blow people off. And the other thing is this show is not insulated from criticism. We welcome criticism. Bring it on. That's why we allow you to call the show. By the way, if you want to call the show, you can add the Skype account Limit Break Radio, or you can simply call 810-515-8715. We allow you to email the show. We're on Facebook. We sat there and interacted with that whole thread the entire time. Didn't blow anyone off. Didn't not give anyone the time of day. And for people who had honest criticism, I thought I gave pretty honest responses. At least
You did. You definitely did.
At least I tried to. So, you know, I don't feel bad about that. I don't feel bad about that thread. I don't feel bad about that. I do. I don't feel bad about calling our FFXIV out for their shitty behavior. They ban podcast posts and people who post podcasts all the time. I don't know why. Apparently there's like some no self-promotion rule on Reddit, which is a completely arbitrary rule that is only enforced when someone decides they don't like a piece of content. So I think that that's a pretty invalid argument, at least in my mind. But you know, the other thing that sort of came out of that thread was a lot of people going, "Oh, well, why don't these hosts? If these guys are hosting a friggin' Final Fantasy 14 podcast, why don't they know Second Coil loot? That's unacceptable. Unacceptable. That's unacceptable." Which is fucking ridiculous. Okay, so yeah, okay. Juxta, you and I don't do Second Coil. Kahlo doesn't do Second Coil. Nika, you do Second Coil.
You said doo-doo.
Doo-doo. And was not able to be present for that show. And so we made a couple of mistakes. Now, granted, it is common knowledge, right? Like at that point, you know, Second Coil had been out it's for a while, and most people should probably know the loot table. Yeah, granted.
I guess.
But
why would you know the loot table if you don't do it? And don't have any plans to do it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a fair point. But I think the larger point is, why is the expectation there that if we host a podcast, we have to be at the bleeding edge of endgame content?
You know what? I bet half those people don't know shit about gardening. What do you know about gardening, bitches? Huh? I am all up ons gardening. And
that's a good point. Like there are a lot of areas in this game to be involved in and to be, you know, to have expertise in. I don't think that it's a requirement to be at the very most endgame thing if you're a podcast. I certainly wouldn't hold any of the podcasts that I listen to that standard. We're not, and again, we're not trying to be an informational source. We're not designed to be a news source. We make dick and fart jokes that have an FF14 wraparound to it. I mean, come on. Let's be reasonable here. It's like expecting Howard Stern to know every nuanced piece of, you know, politics. Like, no, you have that expectation for NPR. You don't have that expectation for Howard Stern, right?
Did you just compare us to Howard Stern?
I did.
So now that joke is valid.
We are far more like Howard Stern than we are CNN.
I guess I'm thinking people just don't know what to expect when it comes to a Final Fantasy podcast. They've clearly never listened to anything else. They hear one and they're like, oh, they must know everything. I will listen to them. And clearly that's not the point of our show, but people don't realize that. So, I mean, I don't know. A lot of podcasts for actual, like, real life things are very news centric, I think, and basically discussion based on news. Where a video game podcast, I think, is much different and is centered more around community. And I don't think
experience too. Because here's the thing, and we used to do this on the Final Fantasy XI LBR a lot, is that we would want to talk about a subject that not necessarily all of the hosts had cleared or even participated in. I think when we had done our C episode, like 2 members of the cast had even unlocked C. Maybe none. I don't even remember. So what we used to do is we used to pull up wiki articles about stuff all the time and essentially read the wiki articles, which I would like to point out does not make for a terribly interesting show.
It makes for a really terrible episode, as evidenced by Simply Juxta episodes, where I literally read the whole event thing,
yeah,
the page, and it was It was really bad.
Yeah. So I think that we'd like to count that as a lesson learned from the first iteration of LBR. And
Be more LBR, less wiki.
yeah, right. Exactly. And
Yeah.
and so we like to talk within the realm of our own experience. However, and hunts were at the time within the realm of our experience. All of us had participated in hunts. All of us had an opinion about hunts, and it was the hottest topic that was going around in the FF14 community, still is, as evidenced by the fact that we're still talking about it.
Final Fantasy Hunt Teen. That is where we stand today.
Kinda, yeah, but not after this big nerf that's coming in 2.35.
Well, we'll see.
I'm telling you.
Oh, by the time this episode's out, it'll already have happened.
Yes,
You are
that is
a
true.
doomsayer.
Yeah.
The end is coming!
Hey, I predicted the calamity. You can go back and listen to it. Aetheryte Radio, episode number 17.
Yeah, but then I'd be listening to Aetheryte Radio.
Oh, snap.
Hashtag shots fired. Smoking gun. Schrodinger's cat girl.
But I mean, I think that there's a broader discussion to be had about kind of casual versus endgame play styles. Now, I mean, Juxta, you play a lot, but you're not. You've said that you're not focused on doing Binding Coil anytime soon.
Nope. Don't care about endgame.
And Nika, you play a lot and are very focused on the latest endgame. So, I mean, what motivates you guys? What motivates you to do the content that you're clearing?
Ego.
E-peen.
I mean, that's a big, honestly, like, my biggest goal is I need to beat everything before the echo comes to it. Otherwise, it's kind of a sense of video gamer pride, I think. And being able to be I don't have the rush to be the first one to clear everything, but to have the feeling of, oh, I did that. I'm I-110 before 2.4, like, go me. And it just keeps me wanting to keep advancing my character and like keep playing till I finally do it.
But it does. I mean, as we said before, you've cleared, second coil, but you tend to ignore stuff like Frontlines or Wolves Den.
Yeah, I've never done.
Well, what is it specifically about that content that doesn't incentivize your participation in it?
I feel like it's simply for glamour or for fun, and I feel like while I'm in PvP, I could be leveling something, or I could be enhancing my eye level, and to me, PvP is just taking away from the time that I could be doing other things. And my husband's giving me a really evil glare because he likes Frontlines.
Well, your husband is a very smart person.
But for me personally, like, I'm the kind of person that wants everything leveled. Like, I have all the battle classes leveled, and now I'm working on botanist, and I'm trying to finish all the crafting classes. And I feel like if doing Frontlines is simply for glamour, and it's not actually enhancing anything that my character could be doing in this game. It's not getting me any seals or tomes or eye level enhancements or anything. So I feel like
it does give you seals.
It does give you tomes.
Well,
or tomes, yeah.
Okay, but not as much as like hunts or roulettes or something would.
You could be getting PvP gear.
Right,
to be doing Frontlines.
Which I would not use in Coil. I would not use in even Crystal Tower. It's not something I would. I mean, it's just for glamour. So I feel like, why waste my time when I could be getting all my classes to 50?
Okay. Well, then Juxta, what is your barrier for entry for doing any Coil? Like, what's the reason it doesn't hold any interest for you?
Because you typically, to do Binding Coil, you have to organize a static and then make a commitment to that static to do it every single week at specified times. And then, so right there, like, your whole, like, basically week is shot, basically, on how often you do it. And on top of that, like...
But that's not necessarily true, as some of the older Coils, are evidenced by. I mean, like, you can do 1 through 4 easily on a pickup. 5 you could probably do with some patience on a pickup.
Are we considering Coil 1 to be endgame still?
I'm saying you've never done first 5 turns of Coil.
Okay, but why would I do it now though?
Yeah, well, that's
to get the gear to do the second. I mean, I guess with soldier gear,
the Coil gear is terrible. It's only for glamour, and I think it looks ugly.
Or desynth if you're into that.
You desynth it?
Yeah, you can. I think you can. Can't you do desynth for the?
You better look that up because Red's gonna jump all over us.
Oh no! Oh God, no!
You're not a desynth expert. What do you think this is?
Yeah, I'm not sure that you can, honestly.
I don't think you can either. I think you're very much wrong on that.
You can desynth Darklight gear. I'm not sure you can.
I think it's
because I remember the promo
Maybe
screens.
70.
I remember the promo screens for desynth, and they had someone in like full heavy Allegan.
Okay, someone just checked. You cannot.
Okay,
owned.
Fair enough.
My husband just checked. He's not someone. He.
Wow.
So there really isn't a whole lot of incentive to do it outside of Glamour.
No, and the Glamour looks terrible. It's ugly.
Yeah, I had that.
I hate
for a
it.
while.
I mean, unless you want to gear up a lower job, like I'm honestly considering doing it for some of the Bard pieces, just because it's like my 5th job, and I'm not going to be spending tomes on it anytime soon. And since you can do 1 to 4 in a pickup pretty easily, and
Why
I
do you
actually
gear out so many-
I actually do T5 a lot. I like my link shell carries people through T5,
Yeah, well,
and so I just like a lot of gear.
Do you have any desire to clear turn 5?
At some point, I really should, because then I can get into tier 2 or coil 2.
Second coil.
Well,
that and I think that was going to be my larger point, is that at some point, coil 2, just like the first part of coil, is going to be duty finderable, and at that point you can do pickups with it a little bit easier.
Right.
And there'll probably be a little bit of echo added, just like the last one.
Right.
But in that point, you have to be the kind of person that's okay with waiting months for that to happen.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
And
But
I'm
I mean,
totally
You're like
okay
a
with
generation
waiting.
behind almost on your eye level.
well, but when they made that change to the first turn, the first binding coil, you didn't even take it up then.
I did like 1.
You did one with me because
that
I
was
was bothering you about it.
Yeah, and it got you to shut up about it, so I guess that was a win.
You-
So
but
there's my incentive to do binding coil is to have Aniro shut up about it.
So, well, the story doesn't hold any interest for you? Because, I mean,
Okay, yeah.
as a 1.0 player, the story is really, like, the thing that pushes me.
Okay, I'll admit I am intrigued by the story, but I feel like if I really want to know about the story, I'll look it up somewhere.
But I feel like that takes away from the experience of the game and the immersion, I think. Like, you need to...
My
your character... No, seriously.
Why is there no realism in the game? My immersion!
I mean, your character is the central hero of the story based on, your point of view. And if you watch it on YouTube, you're watching someone else. Like, your character is supposed to be the hero. Your character is the one completing the story. And the story of Coil is very good.
Yeah, that is the other thing. It is really
very,
good.
very good.
Does
and
each
like
of the turns-
T9 story drops a bombshell, and I'm like really excited for the next Coil. The story is seriously worth doing.
Does any of the story happen in turns 1 through 4, or is it just in 5?
There are cutscenes in... I know
Yes,
that there are cutscenes in
at
1.
the beginning of each Coil turn.
I mean, is there like stuff that's actually important, or is it just fuck off?
No, there's a nice...
No, it's like a nice story that ties it all together, but essentially, I mean, the biggest points are like at the start of the Coil and then the end of the...
Yeah.
But there are some cutscenes in between.
All right, so I guess I'll do turn 5 when it gets to 50% echo, and turn 9 when it gets to 50.
Just let Mika carry you so she can get the 40 extra meth.
Well, I mean, what's the point? I mean, okay, so there's the story.
Because she just said that they carry people all the time.
We do. I could probably get you in today if you want to.
For tier, well,
just do it. Just do it. You could spend the entire time dead and they'll still
like
carry
I have
it.
people in my link shell who love carrying people for the myth. So
Yeah.
for tier 9 or for tier 5?
T5.
Turn 5. Turn
Yeah.
5. Yeah.
Okay. If you're gonna carry me, fine. I mean, it's just for the story, and I guess maybe the bow for glamour.
For glamour.
I'd be more.
I did get the axe on my...
I'd be more interested in doing coil if all of the coil gear and Allegan gear look like the weapons do, where it's like all neon-y and garland-y and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's not. So I'm interest 0.
the second Coil weapons glow red. They're pretty cool.
That doesn't correlate with anything I said.
The second
No.
turn, look at my shield. It's pretty.
Okay, yeah, it's great that it's not what I was talking about at all.
No, but okay. The turn 1, right? The turn 1 or the Coil's first Coil weapons look very like high tech, kind of like.
Yes.
I don't know, like Matt. I don't know, since apparently Allegan are much more high tech than the rest of us.
Well, of course they're more high-tech. It's an ancient civilization.
Right. and for
Why
some
wouldn't they
reason,
be high-tech?
In every mystical world, the ancient civilizations had much more technology than we do now.
Right. That's how it always is.
Because that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But you should do second coil for the glowy red weapons.
Okay, I'll do that when I get to 50% echo.
I've actually I had joined a coil static. In fact, it was Kyle's coil static, and I think we're going tonight at 9:00. Hopefully, I'm gonna be able to be there. But we for the past couple of weeks we've been working on turn 6, and it's not as hard as you would think it is. You know what I mean? Like, it's. I think people have made it a bit bigger. I mean, and it's been out for a while now, but even without the echo,
people have 110 eye level now. Come on.
True. That's true.
When
it came out, people were rocking 90s and 10s.
Yeah, when we
get off your phone. This is important, Kahlo. Gosh. And see, you have no train of thought now. Way to go.
No, because you needed to keep the conversation going.
Because you're on your phone.
Instead, you bring it to a grinding halt.
I know. Got to call you out. And, okay,
what was the end of your point?
Okay, I'm going to continue with the fact that now that turn 2.4 is soon coming out, people who haven't done second coil are now actually trying to start statics to try to get through second coil before third coil comes out. So now is actually the time to start if you're interested in starting, because I've seen a lot of party finders, I've seen a lot of link shells trying to make new statics for it.
Nope.
So
nope. Nope. Okay, I have a question for you, Nika. Sure. You said you want to be the best and you want to get stuff done before the echo happens and all that other bullshit. So you've cleared tier 9.
Yep.
Do you still want to do coil?
Yes.
For farming.
Farming for gear for my jobs, because it's currently the best gear. So like I've got my tank geared out, but I still play Black Mage. That's my main DPS. So now I'm going for Black Mage gear.
But
and since our black mage already has everything except T9 drops, I can start getting gear.
What's the Juxta? What's the thing that keeps you motivated to do whatever the hell you do?
To look awesome.
So glamour is your motivation.
So glamour?
Hell
That's
yeah.
it?
Pretty much. That's why I do PvP, because I love the gear sets. I'm actually highly considering getting the Dragoon gear.
The snake gear?
The snake stuff, after I get finish my Bard out. Just because I like the way it looks. And I'm probably never going to play Dragoon. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to level up a retainer 250 so I can put it on my retainer.
I guess my whole argument is that if you're going to pay every month, but to not actually enhance your character and make it stronger, what's the point of playing?
Okay, what's the point of enhancing your character if it's just going to get weaker as the next patch comes out because you can get better eye level?
Okay, then I should just quit, because there's no...
Okay.
So then why play? Why play an MMO at all?
Okay. There you go.
I mean, I feel like
I can at least play pretty
getting
Princess
gear to make
dress
your
up.
character better makes the $10, $13 a month, whatever you pay, worth it. And if you're just going to play just to get glamour and stand around and look pretty, is that worth $13 a month?
See, but I think I fall right in the middle, because I glamour is a really good motivator for me, clear by my struggles with Odin, and and getting better gear is also a good motivator for me, as is clear by the hunts. But I'm sort of like a path of least resistance sort of person. I want the quickest way from A to B. But I see your point, Juxta, in that, you know, you spend all this time grinding to get the latest endgame gear only to have it outclassed in the next patch, which is, I think, one of the frustrating things about Final Fantasy XIV and a lot of other MMOs that wasn't present in Final Fantasy XI. There was a lot of, horizontal advancement in terms of gear in FF11, and I don't think we see any of that. I mean, my
problem with 11, though, is that even though the newest, coolest, ideas were coming out, like doing pop NMs for ZNMs and things like that, and that was where people wanted to be, the best gear was still from the boring, slow, wait for a pop competition content, and that made the game really frustrating. Where I think 14 stays away from that, which keeps me more interested.
I feel like I understand where you're coming from, but I feel like I don't know.
I think Final Fantasy XIV put itself in a really complicated position, allowing players to keep their levels from 1.0 because they had to have endgame content and stuff ready to go right out of the gate. I mean, it had to be there. Because if it wasn't there, everyone who was already legacy and sitting at 50, or God forbid, had all of their jobs at 50, would say, oh, well, there's nothing to do. I'm not going to play it because there's nothing to do. That was the big complaint about 1.0.
And I feel like that's the case with any MMO nowadays, though. If you don't have endgame out of the gate, then...
No, I think that's very true. But some games have a little bit of pad time, depending on what your XP system is.
Maybe a week or two at the most nowadays.
Yeah, it's not going to be long, but it's definitely present.
You don't have a week or two will not build you an endgame. So basically, you do have to have an endgame planned out. Maybe you have a week or two to test it, but...
Yeah, that's true, because it doesn't matter how slow you make that XP roll, people are going to poop sock right through it.
Poop sock it to the end.
Yeah, that's true. But I do think that they put themselves in a really interesting position where they have to keep trying to push people towards content. And the only way that you do that is by incentivizing it. And so I think it's really interesting to explore what motivates us to do content and to clear content. And I think the greater point that is being made is that there are tons of valid ways to play this game.
I think the worst way to play this game is to be in a party and walk around the world until someone shouts a coordinate and then run there and then mash your head against your keyboard hoping that you get enough enmity to get credit for it. I think that is
enough enmity. I can just throw one tomahawk and I'm fine.
Well, yeah, but assuming your party is spamming Medica and stuff. If you get a shit party with nothing but bards,
well, then drop the party.
Well,
Go to a different party. It's not like hunt parties are hard to find. That's kind of the other thing that I've heard about hunts.
You're evading the point, though. The point is, I don't feel like that's playing the game.
No, that's taking part in an event. There are a lot of different ways to play the game. Just because that's the most popular one at the moment doesn't mean that it's always going to be the most popular.
It's definitely not the only way.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
And in the intervening weeks that hunts have been released, people have started going back to older content too.
Haven't been going back to PvP, that's for sure.
Well, maybe they need to readjust PvP to make it more fun. Done a Frontlines. Make me want to do Frontlines, Square Enix.
Yeah. I agree. Square Enix does need to make...
It also has to do with, I think, the fact that Frontlines doesn't progress your character. With Hunts, you get Myth, which right now most people are in their Novice grind, which really, really helps.
Yep.
But it doesn't give as much Myth. Frontlines does not give as much Myth as Hunts. It also gives Allied Seals, which allows you to buy sands and oils, which all is progressing your eye level, progressing your character, so you can get farther in Coil and thus in the storyline.
Right.
So... if PvP gives me sands, maybe I'll do it.
That's the thing, is that, with the output of sand and oils from hunts, it's like if the output isn't sands and oils or something equivalent, it's why bother? That seems to be the reaction from the community.
That's my opinion, yeah.
And I have to say, I like participating in hunts. I think that it's a nice thing. I do it when I've got only an hour. Or an hour or two. You know what I mean? I generally don't grind hunts for 4 or 5 hours. If I've got 4 or 5 hours, I'll do my map roulette, and then I'll do maybe a circus tower, and then do hunts for the rest of the night. That's pretty much it. Maybe I'll do 2 circus towers. Maybe.
I feel like the only way to do hunts efficiently is to do it for a good 3 or 4 hours, because then you're guaranteed that the A windows will be up at some point during your hunt.
Oh, no, I don't think that that's necessarily true, especially if you're looking at a site like ffxivhunts.com, which, by the way, is a fantastic resource, and everyone should be using it and confirming kills when they happen. So if you've got a resource like FFXIV Hunts and you know that there are no A windows open...
No, they'll just do it something else?
Then do something else until A windows open.
Actually, I know what would make me
It's not that complicated.
PvP.
Okay, what?
If the reason I liked PvP in 11 is because I could duke it out with my friends for fun. If I could go into PvP, guarantee that I could face against my friends or go in with a party of 4, 2 versus 2, my friends, I would do it for fun. I want to beat up on my friends. I don't care about random people.
That's fair, I guess.
Honestly, that would make me do it. I want to go up against my husband and just beat the crap out of him.
All right, well, find 4 other friends, and then you can do Wolves Den
together. His point he just
together.
made is we're in different grand companies, so technically we can. But what's the guarantee that we'd get paired in the same group? Or what's the guarantee that...
Go find 4 other friends and do Wolves Den together.
But you're on the same team. You can't guarantee you'd be facing your friends.
What?
I want to beat up my friends, not
No,
team
I'm
up.
saying find 8 people, make 2 teams, queue up together at the same time using the same different language like French or German.
Okay, that might work now since no one's doing PvP. But I know when it
that
first
worked all the time when people
started,
only
yeah.
had Wolves Den. Trust me,
Fair
I know.
enough.
I did that a
But
lot.
I want to be able to guarantee, like, that's why I liked Brenner in 11. You could just go with your friend, go in and beat each other up, and it was fun.
Sounds like Nika needs more friends.
I have tons of friends. I want.
Well, then you have no complaint then. Get 8 people together and beat each other up.
I still just the fact that it's not guaranteed.
It is guaranteed. You're not. It is. Trust me, I've done over like 300 matches, and I've only gotten a different team once.
So it's not guaranteed.
Just like one of your tier 9 almost kills at 1%.
Yeah, shut up.
Yeah.
Hey, I did kill it, so that doesn't even hurt me. So
How many times did you not kill it?
a lot.
A lot.
How many times did we wipe it 1% once? So
That's heartbreaking.
That sounds like a kill that should have been guaranteed.
no, nothing is guaranteed in Second Coil.
So I think another really interesting question is, since hunts have come out, a lot of people have noticed that Duty Finder queues are absolutely atrocious. Low level dungeons are really bad. You said Frontlines is really bad. The queue for that. Some of the older raid content queue times are just atrocious. So I was thinking about this. If hunts kind of broke Duty Finder, and in patch 2.4 we're supposed to be getting Rogue and Ninja, Square Enix has said that they're going to incentivize leveling a tank or a healer at that point. But what could they possibly do to incentivize it enough so that Party Finder and Duty Finder Duty Finder specifically isn't completely broken and we're not waiting for queues up into 2 hours? Because I would think that releasing Rogue and Ninja on top of the problems that people already are having with Duty Finder is just going to make the problem worse, right?
I think so. Honestly, the only thing I can think of that would be smart, which isn't going to happen, is they mentioned that they're at some point going to release another tank and another healer, which my guess is with the expansion.
Yes.
The only way to truly balance it is to release them all at the same time.
I agree. I think it's a really bad move.
Especially since everyone likes DPS, releasing the DPS one first means everyone's going to jump on it.
And because Ninja's a highly anticipated class because it's the first light weapon job there is.
Right.
People are going to be all over that.
Yeah, exactly. I don't... What could they possibly do on top of putting an XP bonus and a gil bonus on? You know what I mean? Like, what more could they do to incentivize leveling a healer or a tank?
I just don't think that would be enough at this point.
I don't think it would be enough either. And I think it's... I mean, like, I haven't heard anything about what they plan to do, but, I mean, just... unless the bonus is just sickening, I can't see it being effective.
I know what they could do.
What could they do?
They can give you, for being an adventurer in need, a tank or a healer, you can get a little gift present. And in the present, there is a very small chance at one of the extreme mounts.
I still don't think that that's enough incentive.
Are you kidding me?
I still don't think it's enough.
What I think they should have done is that mount that you get for being a tank that's only like only counts up when you do coil and extreme primals, should count for roulettes. Because there are no tanks in low level, there are no tanks in high level, and you're sitting there waiting. But if you could count up your ticks to get that mount by being a warrior or a paladin, I would do low level. I don't do low level, but I would queue up on my max level tank just to get that mount faster. I'm still like 80 away from getting it, and I run coil on it every week.
And, you know, people are moving through their Animus books, so that's taking people out of the pool for lower level dungeons as well.
Yeah.
Because that was really one of the only things that was incentivizing high-level players running low-level dungeons, was doing it for your Animus books.
Honestly, they could make a mount just that you can only get 3 roulettes, like a mount for high level and a mount for low level, no matter what job you're on, as long as you're a level 50 class running it.
I could see that. I still don't think, I don't know, because I'm not huge into like mounts and stuff like that. Like I don't think that would be enough incentive for me personally. But
people go crazy for those stupid
I want to collect
mounts.
them all, and I'm so angry I have none of the extreme ones.
Case in point.
Like, I think there are tons of people who, like, that's why minions are worth so much. Like, they don't do anything for you at all, but people want them all. And so even adding, I think, an exclusive minion to the roulette would get lots of people to do it. Granted, not everyone, you're right. Like, some people don't care, but I think it would definitely increase the amount of people doing it to an extent.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. And, you know, the last thing that I wanted to talk about in terms of hunts, is, you know, however they end up adjusting, the event, someone is not going to be happy. And, I don't know. I think that this is going to be a really, really difficult thing to balance. And the concern that I have is that they're going to balance it for current conditions so much that in the future, when nobody's doing hunts anymore, when it's one of the...
They're going to have to nerf it.
Yeah, that they're going to have to go back and readjust it again. Now, I mean, I guess it's not that bad, but I mean, for players that are trying to do hunts and suddenly, you know, like we get a 2.4 will drop and nobody will do hunts or something, you know what I mean? That in the intervening time, that the event's just not completely broken and undoable. It needs to be... I think when it was first designed, it was designed for the way that people will start doing it once the next round of content comes out. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times, especially because it's got such an easy A to B, you know, like it's got such an easy reward trigger out of the thing, that... you know, that's why there's such a huge interest in it. But as soon as something else that comes out that has that same, you know, loot button that you can hit over and over and over again, people are going to do that. So I would just like to be able to see the event remain viable past the community's past it being the community's main focus.
But how long will that take?
That's a good question. I don't know. I mean,
it's going to take until the next round of gear comes out.
Yeah, I mean, 2.4 will answer some of that.
A little farther than that too, because if you think, I mean, coil, so like second turn of coil is way harder than the first for sure. And I think that when 3 comes out, that gear is going to be not extremely accessible. People are still going to need sands to be able to clear. So I think once people start clearing second coil in pickup groups and start clearing third coil regularly, then it'll start to die down, which isn't going to be soon.
No, it's not. But then again, there's that epic nerf that's coming tomorrow, so we'll see.
The end is coming!
I think we're going to try to take some calls. If you'd like to be a caller to Limit Break Radio, send a Skype message over to the account, the Skype account, Limit Break Radio, or you can give us a call at 810-515-8715. So we're going to try bringing a caller in.
Who are we bringing in?
Ryoku.
Hello.
Hey, what's up, man?
Not too much, just relaxing and enjoying the show.
Right on. Thanks for listening. So, what did you want to talk about today?
I thought I would like to talk about something that I brought up with you like weeks ago. Was with later on when the expansion comes out, we get more levels down the line, in like at how many abilities that we would like to get, we'll get to a point where we just simply have too many, and we have just abilities that are just useless, and we never use them.
There are already some abilities that are kind of like that. There's just some stuff that I don't use a whole lot.
I think the base, like the main abilities, I don't think will ever get, like, I don't think Shield Oath will ever be like outclassed by anything.
Probably not.
I think most of the main abilities, I'm not really sure what they would add as the level increase went up, but I don't think that, I mean, they might add like level 2 of some of the magic spells and things like that, or the next level, but I don't think that the main abilities would ever get completely outclassed.
Well, I'm thinking more on lines of like for example, like World of Warcraft has gotten to the point where they have so many abilities that they're now shrinking the number of abilities that they're doing these days, because there's just simply things that's just way too situational. Oh, and at the moment we're starting over again, so we're building up to that. To that is like It's just a question of when, like, at how many abilities do you think is a good number of abilities before we get to that point?
I think we're kind of at that. I think we're like kind of right at that cusp. I feel like there's enough abilities and enough, skills to use that keep me all over the keyboard, and that adding more might be a bit overwhelming.
I also feel like the way that this game is balanced, there's not too many abilities that are situational. Like, most things fit into the rotation pretty nicely, and anything that's situational is usually like a tank buff.
Yeah, so
I don't think that there's so many, like, that it will ever get to a point where there's like 50 situational abilities and you can't fit them all in your hotbar. I don't think that this game will ever quite get that bad, personally.
Well, Monk has one at least at the moment with one Ilm Punch. Is like there's not many situations in like Coil or Psycho's Tower, for example, that actually you need to dispel something.
That's true. I don't ever use that move.
So do you think that they're gonna add things to the rotation, or do you think that it's gonna be like abilities swap out in the rotation to have different effects or debuffs? What do you think the most logical progression of this is to just make a longer, make a longer sequence? Like, what is it going to be?
I think it's like currently my prediction is probably going to be when they add the 10 more levels that we're expecting it's going to be we'll probably get 1 or 2 more abilities that will be probably, depending on how good they are, be added to each job's current rotation, and it will just be an extension of what we're doing now. So just a longer rotation. Yeah.
I think a longer rotation would be really hard to manage. I like the idea of swapping out rotation. Like, maybe there's I guess like you start the rotation with the same move, and then based on what you're fighting, you can swap abilities. So that the rotation, I think, especially like a job like Dragoon, which has a huge long rotation, I think adding anything else into that would be madness.
But then again, jobs like Bard, that's more of a priority than a straight up rotation.
Yep.
I don't know.
It depends on the job, to be honest. I mean, at some point, I feel like they have to add abilities to jobs to keep things interesting and fresh, so to speak. But I feel like for a job like Bard, it's easy to add stuff because they're not, like you said, it's not a rotation. It's you do this, you do this, you do this, and if this isn't up, then you do that. Otherwise, just spam this.
Right. Do you think they're going to add like branching abilities off into, different rotations, sort of like how Warriors got, they've got their main enmity combo ending with Skull or a Butcher's Block, and then they've got the combo that either ends with the
buffs and debuffs.
Yeah, the buff and debuff. I mean, that's one way to do it, is to just add more branches of what the rotation can be, and then therefore it does just kind of make for a longer rotation. Or you can add, a fourth step in the sequence. You know what I mean? Like those seem to be the two different ways that you can go about it. And I'm curious to see what they're going to do. I think you could do it either way, and I think you could probably do it both ways depending on the job.
Man, maybe it's just me, but I really hate the whole combo system because I feel like it's really limiting in what you do. Like, you have to do this to get this debuff up first, and then it's like, if I want to get like a big enmity hit, then I have to go through the whole combo first, and if I'm mid, if I have to shield bash in between it, then I feel like I lose a lot of threat or whatever, and I don't know. I feel like I like Monk a lot more in the fact that I can do either of these two abilities, and I can have my choice of which one I do, and then I can follow up with these two abilities, and if I need to do the one first or the other one, then it's kind of up to me, so to speak, you know? Mm-hmm. I feel like Monk is a lot more fluid in that regard.
Yeah, I definitely agree. The rotation for Monk is way different than the rotation for Dragoon. I mean, Dragoon's pretty static, but
it's long.
And it is long, yeah. And I think you're right. Monk is a little bit more fluid as opposed to static like Dragoon is.
How is Ninja gonna be?
I don't know.
That's a good question.
That is a great question. I
What is Mudra's? How do you do it? I don't know. Tell me, Aniro.
I totally know.
Tell me.
But yeah. So, very interesting question. Thanks for the call, Ryoku.
No problem. Is that I always enjoy jumping in when I can.
Well, thanks for listening. Have a good one.
You too.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they proceed in that regard with adjusting jobs, because I mean, all of the jobs are going to need adjusting and balancing across the board when that sort of stuff ends up coming out. So it's definitely it's always an interesting question, always interesting to see how Square Enix is going to proceed with that kind of stuff. So Juxta, are you planning on leveling Ninja as soon as it comes out? Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm actually. I've started the soul crushing Atma grind again.
Oh, so you're just going to stack up Atma for...
I actually know at least 2 or 3 people that have Atma. They have the enchanted ink ready, and they have like sands and things ready just to update their gear the second they get.
No, see, that's just silly to do sands and oils. That is just beyond the level of poop sack that I feel is required for this. Because by the time Ninja comes out, there's going to be a brand new tier of shit to do. So
right, but the thing is, what's going to happen is that's going to come out. People want to play Ninja in third coil, so they need to have all the second coil gear, all the stuff, like the sands at least, ready to do third coil as Ninja. So that's what people are preparing for. I know I'm going to level it because I have
poop
like
saggers.
You have everything leveled too now, right? So I have everything leveled. I want to level that for completion's sake, so that's what I'm going to be doing when it comes out. But
that's what everyone's going to be doing.
So you're going to jump right onto the XP bandwagon for Ninja?
I have to. There's nothing else to level, and I have to have them all.
She has to increase her E-penis. That ego level is going to drop to 0 once Ninja comes out, because it won't be orange.
I might like it a lot and end up making that my main DPS. Who knows? I mean, I really like Monk right now and Black Mage. Those are my main DPS. But if Ninja's good, then who knows?
I have to say that I also have the intention of leveling Ninja as soon as it comes out.
And I know for a fact Kylo is as well.
Yeah, and
you just have to make low level party.
So many people are going to do this too. I really don't.
Actually, I think Kylo said he might level his tank when Ninja comes out.
I don't know. Maybe I'll probably have a slower pace than most everyone else, but it is going to be something that I put time into.
I feel like we need to change the LBR banner for like a month or so and just make it all ninjas. That's what everyone's going to do. And keep in mind, the LBR banner will just be a black screen because you can't see ninjas.
We should just go into dungeons with like 4 ninjas and see how far we can pop through it for the XP, because otherwise we're not going to get dungeon queues.
Oh my god, it's going to be so bad. But
who knows?
Bad.
Maybe there are people out there who haven't leveled healer or tank, and they're going to use the opportunity to get instant queues because there's going to be so many DPS looking.
Well, yeah, there's going to be some.
As opposed to
there's going to be a tsunami of ninjas just annihilating everything.
There are going to be so many tank, healer, ninja parties. It's just there's no way of getting around it.
Yeah. I wonder if Ninja's going to have the same DPS limit break, or if they're going to start changing that.
No, the limit break is going to be What was it called? It's gonna be the self-destruct from 11.
That would be hilarious.
That would be awesome. And the Square Enix had said at some point that they were looking into making the DPS limit breaks a little bit more specialized by job. So
they're adding so many. I feel like at this point, I don't know.
Yeah, so that's something that may come down the line. All right.
I want a real fucking limit break on my Bard. This whole healer limit break shit, it's getting old. It's getting old, Square Enix.
Bard is such a friggin' weird job. It's like
it's not weird at all.
But to get that limit break, that's fucking weird.
I honestly think it's because there's already the melee ones, and if Bard is ranged, and Caster has its own. It's not a caster, but if you think about it, all the jobs that are going to die are probably going to be everything before it gets to the Bard in terms of enmity. So if you're the last one alive, you're ranged, you're not getting attacked, you can raise everyone else.
Or I want to do big damage. That's what I want. Eagle Eye Shot. Boom.
You know, the Mughals do get Eagle Eye Shot, so I do think the Bard should get it, but...
I think Square Enix was just lazy and they didn't want to make a new limit break for the range DPS. Physical range DPS job.
Because there's only one.
Because there's only one. So...
But once Musketeer comes out, maybe they will.
Maybe they will. Well, except Musketeer doesn't exist. It's going to be Chemist, which is a healing job.
It's definitely not. It's definitely going to be Musketeer because the guild already exists.
Well, okay, that's the base job, but advanced job?
Corsair.
Chemist.
I want Corsair.
It's not what you think.
I don't.
Mika, you're thinking Corsair. It's not what you think.
But it could be Corsair, but not Plague like 11's Corsair. It could be different.
No, it's not what you think. You think it's Corsair.
So it's not going to be.
It's not Corsair.
But you think it's Chemist, so it's
and I'm
not
right.
But it's not what you think.
No, we discussed it's not what you think. Who thinks Chemist? Very few people. I am one of those people. Who thinks Corsair? Lots of people. It's not what you think. Oh, and by the way, I realized I hate playing Bard in Frontlines and PvP. Because you know why? We have a sweet spot for damage. I just learned this a while ago.
Really?
Yep.
Based on distance?
Based on distance.
No shit.
In fucking PvP, where shit is laggy as fuck, we have a sweet spot. It goes 100%, 80%, 40% or 60%, and then 40% from very far away.
That's not applied open world, is it?
Like it's just PvP.
Just PvP. That's stupid.
It is stupid.
That's really stupid,
and I hate it. I think they said it's like 15 yalms, which is like 2 or 3 steps outside of quick knock range.
Is there a distance meter on the UI
Nope.
at all?
Just you have to look at your little icons and their TP, and when it's red or when it's blue, take 2 steps back, and when it turns red, take a couple more steps back.
Dumb.
That's where you got to be.
Dumb. That's stupid.
Yeah, real dumb.
I think that would make more sense in open world than in PvP.
It's just people run around so much. It's terrible. I got to find a better job to play as in PvP.
I hear Summoner's pretty OP.
Maybe, I don't know. Probably. I think it might be a healer because it's just easier.
But people kill the healers first, don't they?
Well, yeah, healers are tanks in PvP. And tanks are controllers? Definitely not damage. Anyway. So, yeah. I hate healers in PvP so much. As a bard, I don't... Maybe I'm bad, and it could be that I'm bad. But against a scholar solo, I can't beat the scholar. It's just not really possible because they have their fucking instant cast lustrate, which is 25% of HP.
Yeah.
And then they have their fucking fairy healing all the time.
Yeah, because you kill their fairy.
You can't kill the fairy because they have sustain, which will restore like 8% of the pet's health every second or something. It's fucking ridiculous. And on top of that, they have all their defensive cooldowns from PvP that they get, which is bullshit. So... yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah, I can't help you out into PvP.
Man, you're so gimp. How do you have an ego problem, but you don't PvP? How are you better than people?
I guarantee that I can beat you, like I can fight you to show you how good I am.
But you
see this dispute could be solved. I could say PvP, let's go now, and we could just go and fight each other. But we can't. See,
but you could fight anyone else, but you don't want a PvP. So how is your ego that big? I mean, you have a big ego, but shouldn't you want to kill people?
If I can guarantee that I can fight certain people. The thing is also in PvP is that your name doesn't even show up above your head, so no one will even know who you are.
Boo.
But
it will just.
How do you know you're better than people if you can't kill them?
I feel like this isn't going much anywhere.
No, it's not.
I'm just trolling her. It's okay.
All right, we're going to try to take one more call. I think he said in the chat that he might be having problems with his sound. But let's
hold on. Let me take off my goggles.
Oh yeah, the echo.
Your goggles.
My goggles. You see?
There
you
it is.
see?
Echo hole.
Hello?
Hello. What's up, Vivi?
Not much.
My goggles were off for that.
Yeah, mine too.
So, Vivi, what did you want to talk about today?
Oh, I finally managed to get to level 50 a while back.
Congrats.
Congrats.
What job?
Paladin.
Woo!
Yay.
Cool.
Managed to do Circus Teller for the first time yesterday. Managed